are ready to call the meeting to order.
All right, 5:03, I call the meeting to order of the 2022 Strategic Planning Committee. All right, okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Carrie.
Here.
Nancy.
Here.
Michelle.
Here.
Elka and Brittany were present as library staff members. All right, we have a quorum of the Strategic Planning Committee.
Statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Any public comment? I don't see anyone.
None provided.
And the first item is the approval of minutes from the June 14th, 2022 meeting.
I so move.
I second. I think I'll abstain since I wasn't at the meeting, even though you filled me in after.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, sorry, I said I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at that meeting, even though Brittany filled me in after.
Yeah.
So then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Chairperson's report. I have nothing new to report. No unfinished business. So new business. Discussion and action on the 2023 Library Action Plan and Strategic Planning Framework.
All right. So packet page 5. This is going to look very familiar to us. The same format as our previous action plans with the same goals, and strategic initiatives from our 4-year strategic plan. The way that this was put together is basically I looked at the strategic plan and I pulled the last 25% of it, roughly, that hadn't been taken care of yet with the other 3 action plans. And in addition, there are some items that, in looking at the 2022 action plan, we're either in progress with or won't have time to and need to defer. So you'll see some of those things on here. And then a couple of new things that have popped up. Just, the strategic plan couldn't have conceived of it, but over the course of time, we've discovered that it might be something of value to do. And then the one new part to this is on packet page 9. I included the strategic planning framework for 2023. Basically an outline of what I think is a recommendation, or at least a starting point for how to gather the data for our next strategic plan. And it's actually very similar to what we did in 2019. With maybe a few tweaks. So,
Could I just ask on that page?
Yeah.
Who is a community stakeholder?
Community stakeholder. Are you talking about the library stakeholders? That stuff.
Data collection methods. In the middle of the page.
Oh, community stakeholder. So, when I say community stakeholder, I mean anybody in the community who
avails themselves of our library.
Yeah, who would be a user of the library. And I actually gave examples of them in the bottom right corner, although I call them library stakeholders there, so maybe I need to tighten up or make that language reflect each other. And, we did stakeholder interviews last year. So, for example, I interviewed the superintendent of the school district because we work a lot with the schools, and so wanting to hear, strategically what the superintendent is thinking of, is a value. I think who else did I interview? Off the top of my head, I can't. I think I interviewed the Chamber of Commerce, the head of the Chamber of Commerce. They, of course, represent the businesses. I think I interviewed the mayor. So people like that, just
Okay.
and they could have just been some regular patrons too, but I definitely trying to target these groups and representatives.
Thank you.
It's a good question. So yeah, I mean, I want to be mindful of everyone's time, so I'll take questions. You know, if there's anything specific that you have that you noticed here, as opposed to just going through it line by line.
Well, if we could start with page 5.
Mm-hmm.
Down at the bottom, the third bullet point, investigate allowable maintenance. And the word allowable is a questioning because is that getting city permission or availability of contractors or?
Yeah, good question. So if you remember our amazing discussions about library restrooms this past year, we all learned so much about bathrooms and talked more about it than we've ever had before. And one of the things we talked about is that we cannot do anything that would be considered construction to the bathrooms or anything too public construction-like, or it would break the safe harbor law for ADA accessibility, and then we have to renovate the whole bathroom. So we are renovating the family restroom in its entirety because it's not connected, and because it's for everyone. It's not prioritizing one gender over the other. So with the men's and women's restroom at this point, if there's only certain things we can do to not violate the safe harbor law, and so I have to figure out what can I do to improve those libraries without impacting them, and that's what I meant by allowable. So we can paint, but we can't redo the electrical.
Yeah, that's like a Band-Aid painting.
Yeah, but I mean, there's. I got the sense that we probably won't work on those bathrooms for a while, and so there's, the wallpaper's peeling. It'd be nice if we could do something about that. The sink is really bleached and tarnished. Can I surface that, or is that, I can't put a new sink system in because that's construction. So that's what I meant by allowable.
Okay. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Could we get an update at some point on the accessibility checklist? Because I know that you've been working on that for a couple of years or whenever the actual evaluation had been.
Yeah.
So I was curious about if you could either update the board or could we put more detail in this a little bit, like what specific things still need to be done that are feasible next year?
Yeah, absolutely. The Michelle and Sam, they when we got the initial accessibility report, there were some things that we did and we fixed, and then there were a whole host of other really small things or really expensive things. And so what Michelle and Sam have been doing the last couple of years has been sort of evaluating and putting into categories so that we can start, knocking some of them off here or there. Some of them require maintenance, some of them are things we can do. And then they joined an accessibility cohort with the Bridges system, which allowed them to take what they learned from this report and then go through accessibility standards that the, I'm going to forget the name of it. I think it's through the DPI. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. I can give an update on that. But yeah, so now what they've done is they joined that cohort and they put together a more formalized report. And what I can do is share that info with you guys.
That'd be great. Yeah, I've been wondering.
Absolutely.
Wanted to check up on that. And then, sorry, did you guys have anything? I didn't. Okay.
Well, this is just a comment, not a question. The roof and the parking lot. To me, it seems like 2 weeks ago we did these things and we've never had a new roof, right?
Correct.
Okay, so 20 years, okay.
And we may, heavy caveat, and I even told this to the mayor, maybe we won't need to do it in 2024 and 2025. I had somebody who was up there sealing our gutters, and they do roof work too, and so I had said, the longevity of this roof, but of course that is the opinion of a roofing contractor, right? So my goal was to not surprise the city or the board, so I wanted to like sort of lay the groundwork of we're entering to the minimum acceptable levels of when the roof might start to have an issue. We've had a couple of leaks, nothing that has been catastrophic. A lot of it's nails coming up, and then ice damming in the eaves. Yeah. So if I get some more contractors to do it, and if I have maybe someone from the city, an engineer, to give a more like thorough and diversified look at it, maybe they'll give me really good news and we'll be good to go. The parking lot reconstruction is tricky, and when I spoke with DPW last year or so, they had given me sort of a general estimate of how long parking lots last. Our parking lot it's certainly not flat as ice, but it's not like we're driving over hill country either. So the thing that I need to be mindful of when I talk to DPW again is there's a certain point of reconstruction where you just strip off the top layer and refill it in. And that's okay as long as you've maintained the parking lot. Mm-hmm. If you let it get too bad, then you have to do the more expensive underlayer. I'm not using appropriate parking lot terms. And so I would assume the goal is to try to do the mid-level reconstruction before the lower level gets so bad that we have to do the more expensive. So the question is figuring that out. So,
see, I always thought that the city took care of all of its. This isn't our budget, or our budget. It would be on the city budget. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, it's yep, it's all the library property, and the maintenance of it falls within the library's operational and capital budget. And like I said, maybe we'll get some good news. But that's why I've been trying to make space for this in these action plans. So I did a little bit of verbal estimate and formal research last year and this year, and now in 2023, I really want to get like multiple contractors and the city back out to sort of give me sort of a final, like, can we push it out a couple more years? Would we be deferring maintenance to the point where it'll be more expensive? So
we got it seal coated like last year, I think, right?
We got it seal coated in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And the seal, at this point, we're not talking seal coating. We're talking scraping up the.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of striping, it's fine. Right?
Yeah.
It's more about what's happening underneath, and will it, yeah.
That area where there's like a big hump.
I know.
Is that from sewer pipe or something?
Yeah, there's some type of like water drainage pipe running through there, and.
Is that anything that would ever be able to change?
I don't know.
That's a good question. There's a hump.
That's a good question. I mean, when I was a kid, we had a culvert that had popped up at the end of our driveway. Mm-hmm. And we rode bikes over that, and the day my dad fixed that, we were the saddest kids ever. But people with cars probably feel differently. So yeah,
when you go over it, if you're backing up, you go, oh my gosh, what was that?
Yeah, it's something I'm going to ask about. And I also still have kind of dreams. I still think that the entrance to our library is a bit steep. Like if you go from Janesville, there's a little bit of bounciness.
There is. It's also kind of narrow.
It feels narrow.
I was just going to ask. If you're stopped waiting and someone else is pulling in, you often feel nervous.
Yeah. A lot of people exiting stop at the top when they see somebody wants to come in.
Yep.
Because they don't want to meet them right down at that.
Yep.
Right.
Line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So all those things are on my list to talk about with them. I know when I talked to the city earlier this year, they had said that the width of that, I guess, is something I'd have to talk with the county about, because Janesville's a county road. So I don't. There's a lot to do with this. It would not be a small project. It would not be an inexpensive project.
And widening that, they'd have to replace the culvert, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because the ditch.
Yeah. There's a lot to it. I have lots of questions.
I think we have a hydrant there, too.
Yeah. I feel like this project would make the carpeting project look like a fun little spruce up, so we'll see what happens.
on page 6 in the top box, I thought you already investigated the addition of a drive-up book drop and holds window, and we said no, it's not feasible. So why is this still on?
Oh, let's take a peek back at the history of this. So, my predecessor looked into it, and when I came on, I looked around and went, where in the world could we even put this, and it would be expensive, and so that was 2018 Brittany's opinion of it. And then I've been staring at this building the last couple of years, and then I had an idea. And now I just have to figure out if that idea is feasible. Is that there is another place that I think we could put it. It makes sense to my brain, but I need to talk to an architect. I need to talk to the fire department to see if I'm crossing a fire lane or, trespassing on a fire lane. And then we would have a very difficult, the library and board would have to have a difficult conversation about what the value of that is versus what we'd be losing. Because I would be encroaching on some other library territory. Not territory, but space we're currently using. So it's all fantasy in my mind at this point. I just kind of felt, ever since the last couple of years, the curbside has really not been a huge thing, but I see our population aging, and when I think about the value that might be able to bring to people, I just thought, well, I should at least ask the questions, and it might not be financially feasible, it might not be structurally feasible, or it might just not be worth the cost of it, so.
It is true that a lot of people just stop right in front of the building to go up to the book shop. It is true.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's ever a problem.
Yeah, and maybe it's not, and you know what, if, I don't have to look into it either. If we feel like, we do have curbside where a staff member can walk it out, the few times people ask for it, I mean, it was an idea that I had, but it's not something that I feel so obligatory towards tackling, and there's plenty of other stuff to do, so I can certainly.
That was kind of my thought. We have so many other bigger structural, the roof and the parking lot and everything we just talked about in the amphitheater. Like putting any resources toward this, I feel like isn't valuable at this point, since from a, like you said, from a very basic level, it's not an easy thing to do. But if I'm the only one that feels strongly, I don't.
And our patrons nobody's complaining, right?
Sure.
So
nobody's asking for it at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was wondering maybe we could take it off for this year and talk about putting it back in the 24-27 plan, or what do you guys think?
Maybe the strategic plan will either have people talking about it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can do. And I didn't make a note, but some of these are in progress right now. So we've already done work on some of these things. So we're I just don't predict we'll get them done in the next months.
Are you still, I was going to ask, are you still test driving the welcome package for new library card holders? I thought you guys had that already.
Yes, and we may finish that one this year. I didn't know. I I never know what to do. This is such an awkward time of the year. Like, we have to start planning for the future, and I don't want to wait until like March to approve an action plan for the current year. And yet we're at this awkward stage where it's like, there's 2 months left, and there's probably things that we will get done, in which case we'll very quickly
Knock them off, yeah.
check them off. Right now, what the staff did is build a really beautiful new brochure. It looks amazing. I'm so proud of them. They really did a lot of hard work, and it's like just bounty of information. So that was critical, because when we're talking welcome package, we're talking when somebody comes in to get a new library card, what do they get? And right now, they have the improved brochure. They get the card created. For kids, they get like a little lanyard bead, thing. And as Michelle knows, new residents, they get a welcome letter, and they get, things like that. So right now, that's our welcome package. And then what I basically just said to staff was, is there anything else libraries are doing? So that's the last question I posed to them regarding that topic. This is sort of the standard. And now the question is there anything else that libraries do to sort of welcome their patrons, their new card holders, or not? So they're just asking, just throwing that out there to the library system just to see if there's any other ideas. Otherwise, yeah, that will be closed out.
Excellent.
So.
You have evaluate more ways to market the movies. I've been trying just word of mouth to market the movies for, 3 years we've been doing.
Elko, do you know what the attendance is at the films?
The last one, I think we had 10 or 12 people, which was a good turnout.
That's good, because the last one I went to was 4 of us.
It varies, depends on the movie.
Yeah, well, this week's the first run movie. The next 2 movies are.
Yeah.
That should bring attendance up. I can't tell you how many people I know in other book clubs who've read Crawdads
Sure.
and are so excited that you're bringing. And then, of course, panting over Tom Cruise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's marketing, and Amanda and I are going through the marketing cohort right now with the other Bridges libraries, so we're talking about marketing plans and how to reach out to people, and we're developing some new surveys and getting some ideas about how to craft questions that will get us better information from our patrons. We're not alone in this type of, struggle of, what do people want? And
I know this is late notice, but I got a phone call this morning from the gal who runs the Peppermint Fair. We have 3 empty tables. They don't have to be manned. We could set up a table, and the $50 fee would go away. There would be no fee for us. I talked the taxi into taking one of those.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So do you think you like that at all?
When is it?
Sunday, 9:30 to 3:30. Like I say, it doesn't have to be manned. If somebody could just set up the table with the information, outreach information that you want, we'll waive the booth fee.
Are you going to be there?
Yes. I don't have a choice.
What you meant to say was with Felsen.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me think here. So, Sunday is
6.
yeah. I mean, I hate to put this burden on you, but if I gave you some things to put on the table, would
I'll
you
gladly set them up. Absolutely. I would do that. Okay.
Just as a point of information, one of the problems we run into, I'm cold, with promoting the movies is that we are not, per the licensing agreement, we are not permitted to mention the name of the movie or to use any artwork from the movie to promote it outside of the building. So we can't put up a poster at Pick and Save. These are the movies that are coming next month.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
What about like on Facebook or something?
I can't remember. I don't think on Facebook we can either. We can on our monthly calendar and posters in-house. But it's hard to promote something and say, come to the library for movies. Well, what movies?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can't mention them, you can describe it's a movie about a high-flying aviator, you know, but...
Is it on the website? Can you put it on the Muskego, the library website?
I
Well,
think so.
It's on the calendar on the website.
Yeah.
Including the title of the
But
movie.
doesn't it just say movie?
I think if you click on it, I think you can find out.
I think so, but we're
And on
very
the calendar
limited.
itself,
Yeah.
You know, because the whole calendar is on there. It's on the calendar.
Sam and I have talked about putting up flyers in doctors' offices and grocery stores, but we are not allowed
Use the chamber, that would go a long way, if we could do it at the chamber.
Not allowed to.
You know, and I think the larger question is, it's a movie matinee, right? So it's happening like Thursday, right, at like 1
Right.
o'clock or so.
Right.
So we're probably targeting a very specific audience
Right.
and frankly age group, right? So the question is, I don't know. It may require some more deliberate conversations, like visiting certain groups and talking about the program, right? Well, there's two types of marketing. There's like sort of passive marketing where it's like you put it something and you rely on the person to interact or pick it up. And then there's I'm going to Nancy's Women's Club and saying, hi, my name is Brittany. Let me tell you about this program, right? Or going to the Peppermint Fair, you know, things like that. And, you know, we talked, you know, Carrie, you mentioned like that sort of that proactive marketing, the showing up at those festivals is helpful. But beyond just the festivals, I do think word of mouth can be very effective, I think, especially if we're talking about movie matinees. So that may be sort of, given the restrictions of the more passive marketing, that might be the next, if we haven't done that already. Like visiting certain groups and talking about.
We have not done that.
That's the only other thing I could think of off the top of my head that might be.
Or some kind of a meager award for those who come on Thursday. If you can bring 6 people in 2 weeks, you get a free bag of popcorn or just some little incentive.
You know, we've tried offering the
I
same
know.
movie again on Saturday to bring in a different crowd. Yeah. And I think the most we ever got for a Saturday showing was 2 people. And that included popcorn and soda.
Yeah, we did do the popcorn and soda that one time, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do think that 1 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, many people are working or taking care of children or.
Yeah, we're calling it a matinee, so we're targeting matinee accessible people. Yeah.
So you could post a link to the calendar and say, see here for movies, click here for movies.
Yeah, and you could say new releases, and then people know that it's newer
that
movies.
That would pique their interest, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I haven't seen this, I'm not super avid Facebook user, but I know it skews a little older, some, you know, as opposed to Twitter or Instagram or all the things the kids are using these days. I get the event, like the speakers that are coming, I get those notices, but I haven't seen a movie matinee one. So if it's possible to do something to the neighborhood Facebook groups, the 2 main ones, Maine and MANN, because they're competing, with a link to the calendar, that may pique some interest for the people that are on it, because there's all ages, at least in the 2 neighborhood groups that I'm on.
Do you know what New Berlin does? Because they always get a lot of people.
No.
Okay, so steal New Berlin's idea and Patreon. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, don't compete with them. Have it on a different night of the week or a different day of the week.
We do.
Good.
Same with Hales Corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can ask.
That's good.
We can ask New Berlin what they do, though. That's a good question. I wrote down the neighborhood groups, and yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Could you share a link, or is it easy to find, the 2035 City of Muskego Comprehensive Plan on page 8? It's in the middle.
I cannot because I don't think the plan's finished yet.
That's what I was wondering.
Is that number right, 2035?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
13 years.
We planned that far out?
So I thought the plan was finished, and because they did focus groups at some point, city focus groups, and so I put that in as the action plan for this year, 2022. And then I went to the page where it was, and it just said that the plan's in progress. So I can't read it yet. So I couldn't do anything with it. That was a true deferral without me getting too busy. That was a legitimate. Yeah, so see what happens with that. Obviously, there's lots of time carved out for the strategic plan in general.
Mm-hmm.
Bridget, could we back up just one moment? How about the Friends of the Library? Would they like do you think they'd like a table?
It's a good
I
question.
should have 3 tables to give away.
I can
Call Russ.
email the friends.
I know this is late notice.
Probably didn't know the tables were available until recently.
They weren't until this morning.
Right. Well, see, I will ask them.
Okay.
And you see the website usability study. At this point, I just want to fold it into the strategic plan. We're in survey mode, and to me it makes the most sense to do the usability study as a data collection method for the strategic plan. I also really don't want to do a usability study in November, December. I'd like to target the data collection for getting towards summer. That's my preference.
So not start until summer? Sorry, what did you just say?
At this point, I would like to start the website usability study in conjunction with the strategic plan.
Okay, sorry.
And so I want to use it as a data point for the strategic plan.
Gotcha.
And I could probably craft it and get it started, end of December, but that's just an awful time. People are, doing different things. And February is a really dead month. So I think, if I look at the timeline for the strategic planning framework, winter 2023 through summer 2023, that data collection phase is purposeful because then we can, we're collecting data as people are starting to come out and get into the summer. So,
is this enough? I was going to ask, is this enough time to analyze and compose the report, plan the development meetings and host those meetings with staff and our committee, review the draft by the full board, which usually takes at least 2 meetings based on the prior years, and this will be bigger since it's the 5-year, and then being able to vote on it in December, because then we have to have it done before November, so that if we look at it first in November, we have that month to review it. So I was just a little concerned about, are you scrunching everything up then into September, into October, so that...
So this is the timeline we used in 2019.
Oh, okay. I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Now, that's not to say that 2019 was perfect, right? I mean, the goal is to always improve our processes. I'm trying to remember, 2019 was also problematic. Do you remember, Elka? had the audacity to go on maternity leave in the middle of the strategic planning process.
Oh, boy.
So we collected a bunch of data. I told everyone, freeze! And then I was gone for 3 months, and then I came back, and then I analyzed the data, and we wrote up the report, and we got it done.
Oh, no, I was here. I just wasn't on this committee.
Oh,
You're right.
yeah.
I remember you being gone, and then, everything was on hold, or I just started. Okay.
The gaping void that was your life for 3 months. That Elsa filled adequately.
Yes.
So, you know, I really like the idea of having at least through the summer for our data collection phase, because we just get so many people. We get teens who are off of school. We get parents, people on vacation, that summer reading program time where it's such a great, like, people are lured in from those big programs.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that we can do the data collection phase at least through August. And then the winter part of it is a great time, like, so before that. So January, February is a great time for me to do my, like, stakeholder interviews, because it's a quieter time, maybe, like, the general patron mobs are not in, but I can call the superintendent, I can call the, mayor, and, like, schedule those one-on-one interviews. Then sort of as it's getting warmer, that's when I can start doing the larger focus groups, the community boards, the usability study, all of that. So I do think that at least through August, that data collection phase has to take place. And then, I think last time, it was busy.
It just seems a little compressed for
Yeah.
next fall. That was my only concern. I agree data collection should go through August. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
So, I guess, how do I put this? We are beholden to no one but ourselves, right? There's no city municipality rule that says your strategic plan has to be ready January 1st, right? It makes sense in my mind, but, it's not like things will fall off the rails if, we feel like the plan's not ready to do so. And if we know that the data collection phase should go through August for those reasons we just talked about, all we can do from that point is just, similar to this action plan, try your best. I think one year this action plan was sort of a hot mess, and we didn't get it approved until January, even February. And that was just us as humans going, it needs more time to be ready and right. So this is aspirational, and I certainly want to try to stick to this, but you're right. It's an aggressive timeline, hoping that everything goes right, hoping that we have the data that we're looking for, and if it falls short, then we'll just...
As part of that data, one year, I think 2020 it might have been, there was a survey as part of the summer reading program.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that would be part of it?
Now remind me, when you say a survey, was it like a little paper survey, or was it an online link?
It was all online that year.
Yes, that's the community.
We were in the throes of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's why I know I did it. Well, it's either 2020 or 2021, because we did it online both years.
You said it was in 2020. Because in 2019, I think we handed out slips of paper with the link to the community feedback survey to the different, like, storytime groups, because we really, wanted
Oh,
their
I might
feedback.
have done that too.
If we're talking 2020 or 2021, sometimes they do small departmental surveys to figure out what's working, but we will definitely be, the big online community survey will be pushed out to any group that I know that it meets at the library.
I think I did it 2 times. I think in 2019 it was a
Okay.
paper one,
Mm-hmm.
and then in 2020 for summer reading program online, it was like one of those things at the end of the program you had to fill out a survey.
Okay. Well, we will absolutely be targeting the summer reading, people who attend summer reading, people who attend the story times. I think the last strategic plan, any group that met in our public meeting rooms, I sent an email to the person who fills out the meeting room application, and I said, would you please send the survey to everyone who attends your meetings?
That's a nice idea.
And so it was a really good way to get concentrated feedback. That's also how I had so many focus groups. I just started inviting myself to meetings. I was like, hello, crafter group, may I come in here and talk to you for 10 minutes? I hijacked a story time afterwards. I was like, hello, may I just come in here and talk to you all? So we are uniquely suited to have focus groups because there's people meeting in groups all the time. And so all I have to do is invite myself in and, you know, we end up getting a lot of good data that way, whereas normally focus groups can be hard to get participation with. So
If you're handing out physical pieces of paper with a link on it, do you ever use, I just don't know, do you ever use QR codes?
yes.
Okay, good.
And we love them.
Good.
Yes.
Because you just said it got handed out with a link, and I'm like,
Yeah.
with a QR code that you can
And I
actually
use QR
link to?
codes.
Okay, well, that's why.
and honestly, I can't remember. If it was a link, we will be using QR codes now.
Okay.
We've started using them more frequently, like the new resident survey you got with the little orange thing. I think that had a
Yeah.
QR code on it. So yeah, it's so funny. QR codes were like big for a hot minute. Then they started getting made fun of for a while, and now they're back again. Now people are.
So I went to a concert Sunday night at, total non sequitur, I know, but at Pfizer Forum, and some of the food places, you had to scan a QR code to see the menu.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't convenient. Like, just
Right.
show me what your menu is.
Yeah.
It is for them.
Yeah. Well, only some of them did it, though. So
That's
I
funny.
was
Were you
just
supposed
curious.
to order your food using your phone then too?
I
or-
didn't do it, so I don't know. Probably.
okay.
Probably.
Did
I
you
guess
starve them?
That's the way to keep
I
your
didn't go
menu
for food.
updated.
I'm not going to pay $18 for it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
I just thought it was funny. The food places had the QR codes, but all the liquor just had the prices.
Wisconsin, honey.
Yes, I expect nothing less. I was very amused.
But yeah,
Alcohol, no problem.
we will target summer reading. We will use QR codes.
Okay.
Anything else? And yes, it's an aggressive plan. We will do the best we can, but we will not sacrifice quality. We will delay if necessary.
I agree in keeping it loose so that there's flexibility. Just don't want everybody overwhelmed in September and October and early November. That's all.
Yes, and I mean,
Between your staff and you and us and.
We have to be now.
Right.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't have to put. I don't have to put dates to this. I thought it might be helpful just to, like, create goals to stay on track for myself internally. But I mean, frankly, for the board, the full board, it can be, again, like I said, aspirational. But I don't have to put these dates on it.
Do this, but
It's just, this is what we plan on doing.
Well, I like that these are the goal. I was just like, maybe you should add a date then that the goal is to present the initial full plan at the November meeting, vote on it in December. Like that's a good goal.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just looking then compressed between September to November to do all those middle things.
Brittany,
Yes.
in the planning process, there is a typo. The second to last line, it says December 2024.
Oh, that would give us
December
lots of time to
2023.
work on the plan. See?
You're right. We didn't know it was noticed.
It's fine. It's fine. You have 2 years to work on this plan.
I take it all
I
back.
Well, isn't it also in the first sentence? So what's the difference?
Well,
Approval.
yeah.
Signing it and approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
so
got
many
it.
days.
I got it.
Yeah, I suppose. Shouldn't give us that much time. Okay, yeah, I'll change that from fall 2023 to November 2023, and
Yeah, that's all. I think either go that way or go the other way and take off the dates.
Yeah.
Bless you.
oh, thank you. The exciting thing is the marketing plan that Amanda and I are working on right now, or like that cohort process, is giving me a lot of good ideas for this strategic plan. So I'm excited to do that. All right, anything else? And of course, the full board will see this, in a couple of weeks. So if there's anything additional that you think of in the meantime, that's always something.
Uh-oh.
then that would be fine.
I had one question, sorry, all the questions tonight. Under the routine duties addendum, does anything related to the new RFID maintenance need to be put in there? Like, are there going to be new routine duties related to that once the collection switches over? Sorry, I should wait till you get it all hooked up.
RFID was addressed.
It was in the strategic plan to get it done, but not in the routine duties.
2 pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh.
Are you okay?
I'm just going to make a note of that because that probably killed the live stream.
Oh.
My laptop just died. What time is it?
Oh, no.
5:49.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. This is why we have the backup, I guess. How embarrassing. Okay. Let's see here. We can.
You're right, Nancy. It's in the plan. I was just wondering if anything needs to be added to routine duties that's going to change for the staff, or if that's...
Okay. Let's take a peek here.
Wasn't clear on if there are any new regular responsibilities that will need to be incorporated once the RFID
I do not
goes live for the collection.
That's a very good question, and you don't know how much I appreciate you asking it, because part of my reason for putting the routine duties in back in the day was just wanting to really make sure that, like, it was cemented that in and amongst these, quote, special projects that we do in a given year, that there's other,
Oh, sure. This is all the stuff.
Yeah, so I appreciate you thinking of that. I can't do my password and talk at the same time.
Well, it's mostly like at services, the very first bullet point, routinely assess and remove outdated materials. Like, does RFID make that easier? Does it have an impact on that at all? Like weeding out the collection? Or is it not?
No.
Because it's not a different way of
Cataloging
or anything?
It adds an extra step in the discarding process because you have to deactivate the tags. And the same for the last bullet point here, process new materials to allow for shelf-ready access.
Okay.
You have to take a couple extra steps to get things ready to go on the shelf.
That makes sense.
But it's also removing some steps too,
tape,
like the tattle tape. So, in a long answer, I wouldn't say that there's any general task. Like, they're already withdrawing the book, so now it's just going into the record and clicking something off. But the task, withdrawing the book, the broad task, really doesn't change.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we can leave it the way it is. But, yeah, that is a good question. Okay, let's see. We're back in Zoom. Audio is still going. This was still going. I'm really curious. This will be a great test. I'm really curious to see what happened here. Oh, and there we are. Hello. Hello, world. All right. Anything else?
Where it says provide readers advisory to all age groups, does that just mean have a children's librarian, a teen librarian?
I'm sorry, where is that?
It's on page 11 in the upper part.
It means to help people find the books they are looking for and that are appropriate for their age group. So if a parent comes in and says, my kid really likes the Encyclopedia Brown books, what else like that do you
Right.
think the child would like? That's reader's advisory,
Okay.
to steer people towards books
Okay.
they might like.
So really, anyone that works
At
at
the
the
reference
reference desk is,
Yes.
okay.
Of course, the children's staff is better at helping the kids
Right.
than I am, but yeah.
I'm very curious to see what the strategic plan shows us next year. You know, I think that the last 4 years has been very building project heavy, and I don't anticipate, I mean, there's only so much you can do to a building and should do, right? Like, you shouldn't just then muck up all the things you just, updated. So I'm very curious to see sort of what people are looking for and what the focus tends to be. Like, for the Bridges strategic planning process, they meet with all the directors of the Bridges system once a year to do a strategic planning process. And last strategic plan cycle, it was really a focus on technology. This time, it was really a big focus on marketing and how can the system help the individual libraries with their marketing challenges. And so there tends to be sort of a theme that presents itself in a strategic plan, like what people are sort of looking for. And that makes sense, right? Because we address those underlying themes, hopefully, and then new things start to emerge as times change. So I'm really curious to see what happens. I love asking questions, so it's an exciting idea. Sorry. Okay.
I'm trying to get that table for us.
Yeah. And that's, anything else?
Do I need to, are we voting on anything?
I put discussion action. Here's the deal with this committee. You have no authority to speak on behalf of the full board, but the purpose of this committee is to do this groundwork so that what we have is a more finished product for the board to sort of reflect on. So in the action that I would be asking for is just you guys voting, I guess, as the strategic planning committee to endorse it to the full board for further, reflection. So that's what I'm looking for, just purely as sort of a committee endorsement.
So I say, what are my words again?
Yeah,
Good words.
looking for a motion to
Oh, yeah, looking for a
endorse-
motion.
Yeah.
Looking for a motion to endorse the 2023 Library Action Plan and Strategic Planning Framework Action Plan draft with the changes that we proposed tonight to present to the board at our November meeting. Looking for a motion? Okay.
My motion, sorry.
Carrie's the first, she moves. Can I get a second?
Can I second?
What, I thought that was your motion.
Oh, no, I was looking for a motion, sorry.
Oh, you're looking for a motion.
I
Well,
moved.
I'll second.
Sorry, Nancy.
So all those in favor?
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes, or endorsement passes.
Yay.
All right, then, moving on to the next line in the agenda.
Oh, motion to dismiss. Oh, no, sorry. Communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Nothing that we know of.
I have nothing else to report.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll do that one.
5:57 p.m.
Nancy's the first.
I will second that.
Michelle is the second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.